Well, we got some new evidence today that the White House may be backing the National Labor Relations Board in its fight against that non-union Boeing plant in South Carolina plant. After all, reports out say that it just took an official position against a bill that would ban the NLRB from ordering any employer to relocate, shut down, or transfer jobs under any circumstance. To Tim Scott, the South Carolina congressman who sponsored that bill. Boy, this is getting stranger and stranger, Congressman.
By the minute, I tell you what, the first thing I had a conversation with President Obama a few weeks ago, and he simply said that he was staying out of this situation, out of this case. And now you see that, of course, we're seeing a reversal of fortune. It's unfortunate because this is not simply a parochial issue for South Carolina workers. This is an issue for all American workers and for the job creators of America. It is safer to be a company that has your headquarters in a different nation now than to deal with the NLRB. And the unfortunate part is with a $14 trillion debt, we're using taxpayer dollars to take jobs away from everyday, hardworking Americans.
But Congressman, what is the NLRB
right.
doing exactly here as they're raising separately litigation on the wisdom of Boeing going from Washington State to hire these 1,000 folks for a new plane-making facility in South Carolina?
Mr. Solomon has been the lead guy, simply saying to Boeing that they were working against union workers in Washington State when they made the decision to land their new line in South Carolina, and that is an absolute false statement. They said during the field hearing in Charleston that their contention, the bone of contention, was the loss of jobs. I asked a very simple question: how many jobs have been lost in Washington State? The answer was 0. But hypothetically, they could have lost jobs. The bottom line is we don't deal with hypotheticals. There have been 0 jobs lost in Washington State and 1,000 jobs created in North Charleston, South Carolina. The second question was the transfer of assets. Simply put, the definition of transfer seems to indicate that it once was someplace and now it's somewhere else. Well, the fact is, when asked a question, the answer was there have been no transfer of assets. The brand new facility in North Charleston, South Carolina, transferred 0 assets from Washington State. So we have no jobs lost, no assets that were transferred, so we should simply have no case.
So where does this go now? Is the goal here just to sort of drag this out for so long that Boeing just quits it, or what?
It appears that Mr. Solomon spoke the truth when he said that his preference was for Boeing to get with the unions and to settle this case outside of the legal process.
Well, what does settle mean? What does settle mean? I mean, he obviously wants those 1,000 folks unionized. This particular plant in question, before it was grown and expanded, they rejected unionization. So it looks like those 1,000 jobs, if he had it his way, would be gone if they're not unionized workers.
Absolutely. And the unfortunate reality is before they had no union, they had a union. And one of the persons who testified at the field hearing was the former president of the union at the Boeing plant. And she said without any question that the plant was better off having had their relationship with the unions. The employees felt that the plant was better off without the presence. They had no real conversations, no assistance, and they decided to disband their union with no effort put in by Boeing, the corporation. The employees decided what was in their best interest, and that's what we are about here in America. Let the employees decide.
It's going to be up to you to decide later on today how you're going to vote on this Boehner debt plan, if you don't mind switching gears, Congressman.
Certainly.
Will you vote for it?
It doesn't look like it. I tell you, I've been studying this plan for a very long time, and I am looking for what the best thing is to do for the long-term viability of our economy, and I simply don't see it at this point.
Okay, so as things stand right now, a couple hours away from this, not even, you would not vote for this?
That is accurate.
All right, now if it's a given that all Democrats, if Nancy Pelosi could be taken at her word, do not vote for this, they're all going to have to be Republican votes. Do you know from some of your colleagues, particularly the Tea Party ones, particularly the 87 freshmen, that they're all dead set against, only a couple of dozen or for? Do you know how it breaks down?
Yeah, there's no question that Speaker Boehner has done a very good job of articulating the position of our conference. I would say that the majority of the freshman class will be voting with the Speaker on this bill, I think that there will be a lot of folks in the freshman class, at least a majority, if not 2/3, that will end up voting.
Oh, you think
with the speaker on this plan.
two-thirds would vote for?
I think it's pretty close to 2/3 of the freshman class.
What changed?
Right now
then he apparently said yesterday, "Get your ass in line." Did that scare people?
I missed the question.
He said apparently yesterday on this issue of rallying support, "Get your ass in line." In other words, support this, get on board. Did that change people?
You know, I think people have been studying the issue for a very long time. Profanity typically throws me in the other corner and drives me into a different corner when I'm pushed and shoved around. So, fortunately for me, they've been fairly cordial with their attempt to get me to vote for this thing. They've laid out the facts, and I think that one of the strengths of leadership, Eric Cantor, Kevin McCarthy, and John Boehner have all done a very good job of laying the facts out and convincing us based on the merits of the case. And the real question is, do you believe that long-term our country is better off with this deal or not? I think they've done a good job of trying to make that clear.
We'll watch closely. Thank you, Congressman. Good seeing you again.
Yes, sir.
Well, do companies need excuses not to hire? Accusations